Welcome back to another episode of In Swineversation, Beyond Prop 12 and Organic Pork Production with Vincent Breton from DuBreton Pork in Quebec. Welcome, Vincent.
Thank you and welcome. Yeah.
It's nice to have another Canadian on the program. So we've got some really important things to address with Prop 12 a little bit later on. But first of all, how did you get into the organic side of the pig business?
Yeah, I would say that the stories start, at the end of the 90s, beginning of the year 2000, when we definitely, were conscious that it will be very difficult as a Canadian company, raising hogs in the Northeast to be efficient and to be low cost. So we had to differentiate ourselves. So I would say that then we start to be implied with some Japanese customer that were looking for product without certain diseases at that time, and then it evolved to producing animal that were raised without antibiotics, without hormones, and then the natural fit was the organic. But it's basically our customer base. Once we got into the niche program, it's basically our customer base that help us understand the customer and the market, that help us to move toward that direction. And I can name like the Whole Foods, the Chipotle Mexican Grill, or the other key account that we still have today. So I would say that's it. We've been really customer driven, and basically it was the need for those customers to differentiate themselves or answer to their customers' request.
What's your mission?
Hey, our mission is to be the link between the customers that do care about animal welfare, organic, and the farmers. So that's basically what we do. We do own farms ourselves. We do own some operation, but really our position is to help farmers, even if it's internally or externally with the contracted farmers we work with, to be aware of what the customer is requesting and how it really in details on their production protocol, how it goes from the customer to the farmer, whatever it's being called, antibiotic free, organic certified, or Prop 12 now. I mean, that's basically what we do.
So can you explain in detail a little bit of the main component or what makes the organic production model different?
Yeah, it's a lot different because first you start with a lot more space. There's no gestation crate, no farrowing crate, no physical alteration like cutting tails, cutting teeth. There's no antibiotics. There's no hormone or any help of any product. The grain needs to be certified, the grain you use and all the ingredients needs to be certified organic. And so that means GMO free. All the raising practices are different, the space, like just to give you an example, like we're Prop 12, we're talking about 24 square feet per sow. In the organic, we're talking about 81 square feet. So that's a lot different. And there are some beddings at all stage of production, not only at the finishing, but all stage, and also outdoor access. So there are many components, but it's basically feeds, space, physical alteration, ingredients. So there's a lot. When you get into an organic farm, it's completely different than a conventional farm, for sure.
So what about the animal welfare trend? So where is it today and where are we going with animal welfare?
In my opinion, and from the contact and the relationship we have with our customer base, and sometimes we were debating in the future, will it be what will be the most recognized claim in the eyes of the consumer? Will it be animal welfare claim? Will it be antibiotic free? Will it be organic? I mean, antibiotic free did got some traction, and still get, but we see and we have seen lately a lot of concern about animal welfare. Is it brought by the Prop 12 or the Question 3 in Massachusetts? Is it, a natural evolution of the program? That's hard to say. But one thing is sure is that animal welfare is here to stay. And in my opinion, more and more consumer will be educated about how farms are managed. More that's going to be a concern. It is not just for farm animal. It's also the case with the pet animal. Cats and dogs are treated like they've never been treated before. I mean, in the probably in the history. So to me, it's there to stay. I think it's like animal welfare now. I would say is the same as labor child. It's the same as product being made in a certain way that the consumer are not ready to accept anymore. So I think that it's going into that direction, and with the all the states, we have two states that have regulator right now in a more significant way with California and Massachusetts. But I think people have to know that there are 15, 17 other states that are preparing or that in phase of preparing regulation concerning the same exact concern for the same exact concerns. So I think that animal welfare is a serious business. It's only going to get stronger. Consumer are not ready to conceive or they don't want to know that animals are raised in a cage anymore, so they're not ready to accept that. So I think that the concern will only grow. And I think the challenge is really, if you ask the consumer if they are ready to pay, they will say yes for a certified animal product. And if they are, and I would say, the difference between they don't want to see it or they're ready to pay for it, I think there's a disconnect. There could be a disconnect. But to me, I mean, animal welfare is growing and will only be growing.
There's lots of components to animal welfare. So between health, feed, or transportation, is there anything you want to comment on about the trends moving forward?
I mean, well, depending on the certification body you're working with, I mean, whatever it's at the farm level or transportation or other aspect, I mean, when you look at the certified humane as an example, the third-party certifier we use in the US, they look at all components. You got plant, transport, farms. I would say that for now, I would think that maybe the farm component is the one that is mostly looked at. But I mean, in the past, we've seen, activists group, looking at what the packers were doing or the way the animal were manipulated. So I think that in short term, probably because of the attention that Prop 12 is getting, it's probably the scope is probably more around the farm. But I mean, I think it will evolve, and there will be no place to hide, in my opinion.
So what drives the organic pork market, Vincent?
That's a very good question. I mean, like I said, I mean, it really depends on the countries, and because as an example, okay, if you go in Japan, they will be more driven by. Sorry, in Japan, it will be driven more because of the GMO component on the feed. So they will be more concerned on GMOs than on animal welfare, as an example. Here in North America, in Europe, it will be more outdoor access and let's say freedom of movement. And I would say in North America, now animal welfare and antibiotic free are taking a big part. So basically, I think that organic in the eyes of the consumer means not everything, but it means a lot in terms of all those aspects that whatever you name, the space of the animal, the smaller farms, sometimes it's mixed, the understanding of the consumer is mixed with, they will mix organic and local. So I think that the organic is the perception of the consumer that organic is better, is really driving that market. and more consumer wants to know where the product is coming from, how it's been raised. So I think that willingness to buy responsibly is certainly a big driver here in North America.
So do people really know what organic means, or is it just a perception?
Hey, you know what? I think that again, the same with animal welfare. Sometimes people, they know, the consumer will know what they don't want, but they will not know the exact signification. If you look at surveys and story and historical base, I mean, people were answering that the most important claim in meat was natural. And actually, with the USDA and CFIA as an example, there's no definition of natural. Anybody can call a product natural. And it was in the perception and the eyes of the consumer that was the most important claim. So again, the perception of the consumer vs the detailed production protocol are two different things. I think that more and more people, though, I mean, we get more and more question about consumer that are really well educated, but that's only one part of the consumer. And let's face it, those programs are still niche. It's not it's still a niche program. I mean, organic maybe in all produce, not only meat. It's maybe what 3, 4, 5% of the whole market, and for the meat, it's even a little bit lower. So I don't think that organic will become all across the board. But I mean, the interest for all the component of the organic production, whatever it's space, animal welfare, outdoor access, I mean, they're getting a lot more attention than they used to. And more consumer are ready to pay and are asking for it. So that's the whole idea.
So we talked on Twitter a few months ago about Prop 12, and then you
Yes.
shared some photos about beyond Prop 12. And
Yep.
then most recently, we got the press release that you're proud to announce that you're one of the first companies to be certified and ready for the implementation of Prop 12. So comment on everything Prop 12, including the latest announcement.
Yeah. I would say that, the Prop 12 is really one thing, is no gestation crate for a part of the life of the cell. Okay. So, I mean, basically, the gestation crate free movement or program, it's taking its implication with Prop 12. So this is basically what is Prop 12 for, at least the pig. I know that the Prop 12 means something else for veal and eggs and layers, but I'm not all that familiar. But when we look at pigs or hogs, the Prop 12, the only thing that is different is that the gestation crate free has been managed in different way by the industry. Some people were doing it with a certain number of days, or they were managing different step of the production in a different way. One thing that Prop 12 is defining is a strict number of the square footage, the 24 square feet. So people were doing and this is why it's so difficult, the adoption of that regulation is maybe slower or is questioned, because some people were managing a gestation crate free at 19 to 21 square foot, and then they don't meet and that means that they don't meet the Prop 12 regulation. So that's my understanding, and this is what Prop 12 is all about. And for us, since we were already certified organic, certified GAP, certified humane, I mean, all those components, I mean, we're giving to the sow, like I said a little bit earlier, like 81 square feet per sow. So, I mean, getting the 24 is not an issue. Our farms were already to the standard. So as soon as it's been announced, I mean, we got on board and we got the certification done. We actually wait and suggest some certificator to get the approval from the California Department of Agriculture. So some third-party certifier got the approval. Then we just worked with them, and then they came in the last month or so, touring all the farms and the site we have. We received the inspection report back, and now we're approved. So that's basically how it went. And but for us, since we're beyond Prop 12, I mean, just because the Certified Humane and GAP program is so advanced compared to Prop 12, that the Prop 12 was not an issue. Our farms were already to standard, so and beyond. So that's why.
Did anything surprise you through the process?
No, because I mean we're used to that. I mean, um, Global Animal Partnership and Certified Humane are visiting our farms every year. At DuBreton, we have an internal certification process, and then we have the third party. So we're in the business of certification for the last 20 years. So we've seen a lot. We've gone through different things. We did participate in many ways. I mean, we've been the first, adopters of Certified Humane, and also got Prop 12. We have we have very often been used as guinea pigs or test farm or test program for different things. So we have not got any surprise on the because it's quite simple. I mean, the process for Prop 12 is quite simple. It's just that I think that what surprised or and in one point, the industry should not be surprised because it's that vote happened in 2018. I mean, it's 6 years ago. So now the regulation is put on place and is in force. But really, I mean, we know it for a while. I think that people are just surprised that it went through. And I think that the decision of the Supreme Court did surprise some of the big player in the industry. But really, I mean, that vote is coming from back 2018. So
You're ready for it. Now, what does the future look like for the organic producer?
uh, the future, even if we've seen a little bit, depending on the area. Okay, if we look at Canada and Europe, I think that we've seen a little bit of a slowdown with the economic conditions, but the U.S. market is still driving. I think more and more, whatever we're talking organic or animal welfare certification or any claim, I think there's a place in the fresh meat industry and the pig industry for niche market. We don't think we have all the answers, but we certainly have chosen our camp. I mean, we're trying to convert as much production as possible to the organic level, and we believe in that industry, and we think that there will be that industry will be growing just by because it's answered the concern of some of the consumer that want to see the animal to go outside, to have fresh air, to be raised under the best condition available. I mean, it comes to with a price. It definitely comes with the price tag, but I mean, there's a market for it, and then we bet on the fact that that market will be growing.
And what do you look forward to in the future for DuBreton?
I mean, we've been thinking about that, and we've been going through some strategic, meetings and we really believe in that industry. Sometimes it takes more the adoption because I think we've been in advance. I mean, the adoption is taking more time from the market. But as an example, last year we are now a official supplier of IKEA for the small Swedish meatballs because I mean they were looking for a supplier that meets their ethic and animal welfare policies. But it took a long time. I mean, it takes a long time, and sometimes we know that the market is going into that direction, in that direction, but we can't predict when things will actually happen. So handling the demand and supply and planning for that, because we have definitely raising an animal is not a short term um, cycle. I mean, the product cycle is pretty long, so that's a huge challenge. Like I said, I mean, we think that this industry will continue to grow, still be a niche, but it will continue to grow. And we could be surprised with the animal welfare component, with all the regulation coming from some of the U.S. states that are looking into it. So it could become maybe a bit of part of the pie than we thought it would a couple of years ago. So being there, being certified, being ready to answer to the customer demand, and being the first comer, you know, is certainly that's an advantage that we're trying to tap on.
Well, Vincent, Breton, thanks for joining us today, and it was great catching up.
Thank you.